I am barely awake. This is gonna be a fun, energetic stream.
But what I finally realized and really kind of made Gojira click into place for me is that in metal, it's different. In metal, it is all about the riffs.
Oh, shit feels good.
Everybody,
Shit feels
this
good.
is Punk Rock NBA, and today we are here to talk about a band that I know a lot of you guys love very much, and that is Gojira. And specifically, why exactly this band is more popular than I really ever thought they could or would be. And what I mean is this: it is no surprise to me when bands like Bring Me the Horizon or Ghost or Slipknot or whatever blow up, because they check all the boxes. Number one, charismatic front person with a big personality, accessible music with lots of catchy hooks and big choruses that you can sing along to, and some kind of like crazy larger than life imagery. But that is exactly why the success of Gojira has kind of puzzled me for so long. If you're not familiar with them, they're a French metal band that sounds like this. Without any, big choruses or anything like that sings about flying whales and environmentalism. The guys in the band are very low key, they're not out there starting beef with rappers or whatever. And so they don't do all the things that you're quote unquote supposed to do. And yet they're crushing it. There are well over 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. They headline arena tours in Europe, played to big crowds in America, and seemingly everybody in pretty much every corner of the metal world worships them. But after thinking about it, I finally get it. I finally understood the secret to their success. And that secret ingredient says some very interesting things about metal fans and their psychology, which I will explain in this video. But first, if you haven't checked me out on Twitch, I'm live streaming twice a week from 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's a link to that in the description of this video.
Yes.
First of all, let me just kind of bring everybody up to speed on their history and their career for anyone who may not be familiar. Gojira started way back in 1996 in France and released their first album in 2001, which was kind of like maybe Morbid Angel meets Sepultura or something. And although I wouldn't say that album was like amazing, and it was obviously very low budget, it was definitely good, and you could totally see their potential. Their second album came out in 2003, it's called The Link, and kind of continued in that same direction, but just better in every way. And this is when you could really see that Gojira was more than just your average death metal band.
Oh, I gotta go listen to The Link.
And I remember hearing their name a little bit back then on forums and stuff, but it wasn't until their third album that they really perfected their sound and really started to get traction internationally. This is the album where all their trademark elements really came together. Those heavy, groovy riffs, the pick scrapes, Mario's insanely tight drumming, Joe's style of pitched, screaming kind of vocals, which everybody does now, but were very uncommon back then. And it's also where the environmentalist themes in their music really came to the forefront. Like, I remember seeing the cover art with a flying whale on it, and there was also a song called Flying Whales, and I was like, all right, well, this is different. And as somebody who grew up on vegan straight edge bands like Earth Crisis and Vegan Reich, I was immediately more receptive to songs like Ocean Planet and Global Warming than the usual like kind of cheesy metal imagery of like war and demons and whatever kind of edgy stuff the standard metal bands talk about. It was immediately obvious that these guys were much more thoughtful and coming from a very different place than your typical metal band. And this album got pretty much universal praise from critics, reviewers, and fans as far as I can remember. And if I had to point to just sort of one moment in time as their breakthrough, it would be 2006. This is when they signed to Prosthetic Records, who would put out the first two Lamb of God albums, which got them exposure to an American audience for the first time at that kind of scale, and also when they had a few really critical festival appearances. The first is when they got the call to replace Mastodon on the main stage of Download, which is one of the most important festivals in the UK, and the second was playing the main stage of Hellfest in France. Both of these are massive, super influential festivals and got them in front of tens of thousands of exact exactly the right kind of metal fans. And they made an incredible first impression on everybody who saw them at either one of those festivals. Like, if you watch the live footage of them at Hellfest that year, it's pretty amazing. I'm someone who basically can't stand live recordings 99% of the time, but I
Same.
would say that the live versions of these songs kind of sound better than the recorded ones. Like, that is a very, very rare thing. And all of that stuff that happened in 2006, that was kind of the first domino that knocked over the other dominoes that would take their career to the next level. The first of those dominoes was Lamb of God, taking them out on their US tour with Trivium and Machine Head, right when Lamb of God was like on fire. This was right after Sacrament had come out and hit number 8 on Billboard, and Lamb of God was really like the perfect band to introduce Gojira to an American audience. Although sometimes you hear people talk about Lamb of God now almost as though they're like some kind of like redneck band for guys in the army to push mosh to. And maybe to some extent, you know, they are that, but really they're not. They come from the punk and hardcore scene, so I think ideologically they're
Oh
much
my
more
God,
aligned with
every
Gojira,
single
and they sort of
fucking
fit
chest.
musically
Okay.
as well. They play very
Every single
rhythmically
chest has something that
complex,
blows up
but
that you have to
also
run away
heavy,
from. This
kind
is
of
getting
groove
real
metal,
fucking
I
annoying
guess
real
you'd call
quick.
it. I think of them almost as like the less moody, more chuggy, like angry version of Gojira. Like if Gojira woke up in a bad mood. And next, the opportunity that every metal band dreams of. Metallica took them out on the World Magnetic Tour in 2009, which number one
Jesus.
put them in front of massive audiences, but I think also really just sort of made the guys in Gojira believe in themselves, like made them believe that they belonged on stages at that level.
We feel blessed. They make us feel important when they talk to us and stuff. So it's very rewarding and it's a very nice feeling.
And in the middle of all that, they
I'm
put
sure
out
it
what
is.
I would personally consider to be their best album, The Way of All Flesh. And over the next several years, they basically just kept grinding
that song
and
fucks.
slowly but surely getting a little bit bigger and a
Fucks
little
so
bit bigger
hard.
every year. Eventually signing to Roadrunner for this album, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to say French words. But that came out in 2011 and hit number 34 on Billboard. Their next big breakthrough was in 2012 when they went out with Metallica again, this time playing to stadiums full of as many as like 75,000 people. And they just kept going. Their next album, Magma, went to number 24 on Billboard. And although I personally don't like it as much because they went a little bit more like rock, kind of more like moody and melodic, less heavy, I can say that objectively it's very well done. Which brings us to their most recent album, Fortitude, that continued in that more quote-unquote rock direction, almost like a heavier Mastodon, and went to number 12 on Billboard.
That might be why I
So
like
here
them,
they are,
'cause they are
20
kind of like
years
a heavier
deep into their
Mastodon.
career, and they are bigger than
While
ever.
Mastodon
And they've
just
really
keeps
cemented
getting
their status as one of the staple
more beta.
definitive bands in modern metal. Headlining festivals and arena tours in Europe. They got a Grammy nomination, and they're pretty much universally loved by fans and critics. Like, you're not gonna find anybody in metal that has anything bad to say about Gojira. So with all of that being said, I've always found their success and popularity to be a little bit of a mystery, a little bit surprising, because
singing
like
so
I
much.
said in the beginning, they don't
Back to
really check a
screaming.
lot of the boxes
was
that you would
funner.
expect for a band that hit number 12 on Billboard. But after thinking about it a bit, I think I finally get it. So the first thing that really kind of stands out to me is that they don't really have particularly strong vocals or vocal hooks, which is not to say that Joe is a bad vocalist or anything
No,
like
it just
that,
doesn't-
because he isn't. He's very good at that pitched screaming
not
kind
forward.
of style.
It's not-
I just
it's
mean
not
that
vocal
compared to a
forward.
band like Slipknot or Bring Me the Horizon or obviously like Linkin Park or whatever, there aren't a lot of like big choruses that you want to sing along to, right?
No.
That's just not what Gojira does. And for most people, that is what
Usually it's
defines
the
a
riff.
catchy song. Like if you mention Pantera, most people, most mainstream people anyway, are gonna sing the chorus to Walk or Cowboys from Hell. Or to make it even more
I'm gonna
obvious,
sing the
you know,
solo
look at
is what
Pop.
I'm gonna be
How
doing.
many people
I'm gonna
even
go
know what the instrumental melody
the
to,
entire time.
You know, any given Katy Perry song is. They don't even pay attention to that. The only thing that most people remember or pay attention to are the lyrics and melody of the chorus. But what I finally realized and really kind of made Gojira click into place for me is that in metal, it's different. In metal, it is all about the riffs. The
about the
riffs are the hook.
riffage.
Because what I realized is that metal fans
riffage.
kind of don't really care that much about the vocals for the most
Not
part.
really.
It's almost like an inversion of pop, where in metal, the riffs are the hook and the vocals are just kind of there to support what the rest of the band is doing. And I personally find this fascinating because this is just not fundamentally how I listen to music. I am very much into pop song structures, big vocal hooks. I care a lot about lyrics, which is probably why my tastes are so different from most metal fans who don't really care about all that and mostly just want to hear some cool riffs. And I'm not saying that one of those is
And
better
screaming.
or
I wanna hear
worse
cool
than the other.
screaming.
Like, the way that you listen to music is the way you listen to music, and, you know, there's no right or wrong way to enjoy music. I'm just
True.
saying that these are very different ways of listening. And that explains why, to me, Gojira's songwriting is maybe a little bit lacking, but to metal fans, their songwriting is amazing. Because I
You're
want
insane.
vocals, and metal fans want riffs.
Yes.
As a few examples of, you know, kind of roughly comparable bands that I think might further prove my point, you know, look at Lamb of God, Meshuggah, Behemoth, Trivium, the list goes on. Those bands all have good vocalists.
Come on. Meshuggah. Meshuggah. Meshuggah? Meshuggah. Shug. Like Suge Knight. Meshuggah. Meshuggah Knight. Not Meshuggah or whatever you just finished saying. Which I don't even remember. You said it so bad I don't even remember what you said.
Meshuggah,
Meshuggah. Yo, Suge Knight. Meshuggah. What up, Meshuggah? I like me some Meshuggahs. Bro, come on. I can't. You say it so wrong, I don't know.
lacking, but to metal fans, their songwriting is amazing.
Meshuggah.
Because I want vocals and metal fans
Meshuggah.
want riffs. As a few examples of, you know, kind of roughly
Meshuggah.
comparable bands that I think might further prove my point, you know, look at Lamb of God, Meshuggah.
Meshuggah. Shug. Why is it so funny to me? Meshuggah. Yeah, I think my brain's a little broken. Meshuggah. Meshuggah. Meshuggah.
You're saying it too many times.
Meshuggah. Meshuggah. My brain is barely alive. This is fucking stupid. I can't take it. It's too dumb. Meshuggah. Meshuggah. It's not working. It's not working for me. Meshuggah. It sounds stupid. I can't do it. It sounds really dumb. Sorry, dude. It just sounds a little silly. Meshuggah. Okay. I'm done.
Behemoth, Trivium, the list goes on. Those bands.
It's funny because I would consider Trivium to still be in that. Trivium is definitely still in that realm. Am I making that up? If this single from fucking 7 months ago, 4 million views, good God. If this motherfucker has a chorus in it where he sings, that you're just wrong. Split me wide open. Jesus. Split me wide open, daddy. This punk rock guy, I don't think knows a fucking thing about metal. This is the second video I've seen from him where he says, like, he doesn't seem like a stupid guy, necessarily. It does seem like he knows enough. He's got fucking 376,000 fucking subscribers. I would assume he knows something about something, maybe. But this is a little odd.
Or worse than the other. Like, the way that you listen to music is the way you listen to music, and
Yeah.
you know, there's no right or wrong way to enjoy music.
That's how I know he's cool, because he says that.
I'm just saying that these are very different ways of listening. And
Sure.
that explains why, to me, Gojira's songwriting is maybe a little bit lacking, but to metal fans, their songwriting is amazing. Because I want vocals and metal fans want riffs.
That's not necessarily true. I think metalheads still want vocals. It's just, well, we definitely don't care about lyrics, because we don't understand them half the time. But we care about vocal melodies. I would say that yeah, like, I guess because Mario doesn't sing. Sorry, Mario's the fucking drummer. Joe is the singer. Joe still has vocal melodies. Like, there might not be the most chorusy of choruses, but I don't think that's necessarily saying anything. Bro, even like the new, I guess if he's looking at the old ones, then yeah, the new ones still kind of had like choruses. That's a chorus. That's a singable chorus. This is a chorus. It's definitely got some dirt on it, for sure. But that's a chorus. Fucking love Mario. Dude's insane. I mean, in this. Oh, sounds like a chorus coming. I hate this. This is definitely a chorus. This is a chorus if I have ever heard one in my life. Dude's got such a great voice too. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you're saying that, but then it's like he goes in the beginning is like, I like Slipknot and I like all these bands specifically because they do like forward facing, like vocal forward facing music, and it's like, wait, what? Like, to some extent he is right. Like, obviously as a metalhead I do enjoy my music to have, and I've said it like a billion times at this point, like I prefer vocals to be integrated, not to be elevated. This is Trivius Latos. I don't even know what that was. This looks like it's for Skyrim, or for, not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls. New album. Oh, okay, yeah. See what happens when Trivium and the Elder Scrolls Online collide. So I guess they made a song and they put it on the album, and then maybe Elder Scrolls or Bethesda wanted it, or maybe they just went like, I know Matt likes games and he streams and shit, so maybe it was like a collab where he streams so much goddamn Elder Scrolls or whatever that Bethesda hit him up and were like, hey, you want to make a song for us, buddy? And he was like, yeah, I'll fucking make 4 mil in views off of a fucking video because it's fucking Elder Scrolls. I was going to call it Elden Rings for a second. Elder Scrolls, Elden Rings, there's too much fucking bullshit, all right? Pick a different thing. I'm not gonna listen to the rest of that.
As a few examples of, kind of roughly comparable bands that I think might further prove my point, look at Lamb of God.
Lamb of God. Lamb of God I agree with. Although, I don't know. Would I agree? Anytime, like, I can't scream, but, like, I mouth the words to Lamb of God choruses. I guess I can scream. I just don't do it too well. Like when Laid to Rest or Redneck show up, like I absolutely start fucking mouthing it off. can't scream, but that's the best I can do. Yeah, I know. It's not. I guess he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I guess it's just vocal melodies. I guess is what you want, and Lamb of God doesn't necessarily do vocal melodies.
Meshuggah.
Meshuggah definitely does not do vocal melodies. Although their new album has some lines, for sure. Some vocal lines. They're definitely expanding their sound. I liked it. Or at the very least, a little bit that I got from the singles, because I have yet to still get to that fucking album. But it's good. At least the few songs that I heard were good. But yeah, that's definitely not a vocal forward band.
Behemoth, Trivium.
I feel like Behemoth. I mean, he's wrong about Trivium. I feel like Behemoth still. I gotta be careful because these guys like to put like dicks and tits all over their fucking videos because they're Satanists and they have to be fucking edgy as shit. Let me see if I can get away without TOS. Fair enough. Granted, this is one song, but I could have sworn that they started like singing more often in their songs, but maybe I just made that up in my head.
Trivium. The list goes on. The
list goes on. You're wrong about like 2 of those, so get a better list in that case. But he's not wrong. It's just you just pick kind of like halfway shitty examples, but he's not wrong. Metalheads definitely do like I don't even want to say like guitar forward. It doesn't have to be guitar. It could be drums. Like even if it's drum forward, which I would argue a lot of metal is, or like for like Gent, for example, is definitely like maybe not drum but rhythm forward, I would say, instead of riff. Although riff, there's rhythms in riffs, right? But I think the idea is more rhythm focused or rhythm forward than it is like riff forward. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Those bands all have good vocalists, don't get me wrong, but you listen to them for the riffs, right?
No. I mean, do I listen to Lamb of God for the riffs? I don't think I am. I'm definitely not listening to Lamb of God because I want to hear just Randy. But it's not like I want to hear just Mark. Or I guess they got a new drummer. It's not that other guy whose name I don't remember. It's escaping me now. Also, is the guitarist's name Mark? Am I just making that up? I follow him on Twitter. I want to say his name is Mark. Him and Phil from All That Remains like to shit talk each other. It's actually pretty fun. I don't remember if his name is Mark. I don't know. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, I guess, no. I'm not listening for the riffs. part of me likes the drums, part of me likes the riffs, part of me likes the screaming. So I just go like, no, I don't think I'm definitely, he's right that I'm not listening to it for Randy. So I guess that's the difference. I did not hit her. I did not. God, that man. Oh, hi, Mark. I'm really trying to sit here. So does that mean that, well, I can understand the pop stuff, right? If you're listening to Katy Perry, it's because you're listening for Katy Perry. But Lamb of God is called Lamb of God, not Randy Blythe. So, or Blythe, or however you pronounce it. So I guess I'm listening for Lamb of God, but I'm not, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm listening for riffs. It just means I'm listening to the band. I'm not sitting there waiting for Randy's moment to shine or something like that. Like, I guess Katy Perry, like you want to hear Katy Perry sing. You don't want some other random, you don't want to turn on a Katy Perry album and then have it just be like different people the entire time, right? Like that's not what Katy Perry is. So he's like a punk guy. So now I'm thinking like, but even the punk that I listen to probably isn't normal punk. Or even, like, I don't even know, would you consider Dillinger Escape Plan punk? In some form they are. They definitely use a lot of punk attributes. I don't know what the word I'm trying to say, but like they definitely use the punk sound. They've got the math rock thing where they just go buck wild for a second. You're like, what's happening? But it's all just controlled chaos. So I don't know. Am I listening to it for Greg? I don't think so. Part of the reason why I listen to them is for Greg, because Greg's an insane vocalist. But he also does a good job of mixing noteless or noteless, soundless, toneless. What's the word I'm looking for? Without note. Just like screaming and then also using actual vocal melodies with actual notes. So I don't know. I don't know how much right that is. I want to say it's actually not that right. I guess in some, maybe I'm not a typical metalhead. The cool thing about bands is you can listen for many. Yeah. I think he even goes like, there's no right or wrong way. I don't think there is a right or wrong way. I don't think I'm trying to find a right or wrong way. I guess I'm just trying to like everything he said isn't true. There are nuggets of truth in there. So I'm wondering like how far I can take it. Because there are definitely some Dillinger Escape Plan songs where I listen to it because of like the vocal hooks. Like, in the air we try to breathe, but you shot your relative me. One of us must die, but the color white in it. To be fair, this isn't the typical Dillinger song. Well, typical in the sense, it's not typical in the sense that like they don't do it often, but it is typical because they do it often enough that it's part of the Dillinger sound. Like there's all these crazy songs that are just like fucking for fucking 3 minutes straight, and it's fucking glorious. But then they do also do this kind of like eerie, creepy, like rock vibe thing, but they still add, even those songs still have like that edge to them, like that Dillinger edge. Because this one, and then like you got like Milk Lizard. Milk Lizard is one of those that like I hated the first time, and then the more I listened to it, I was like, oh, I see what's happening. You guys are really trying to find like the balance, like how much of us can we put into something, into like almost like a pop song without changing either one. So emo. You like emo? Just admit it. I like things about emo music. I don't like how far deep they go into it. Same way I like when noise gets used in music, but I don't like noise music. You can whine. I don't mind the whiny. It's when every song is you going for like a 40-minute album. Then we got issues. Then we got problems. And even Dillinger, while utilizing that shit, still does it way better than every other band. Just this little tiny, this is a chorus. This is a chorus right here that he's singing. Just the accents, the syncopated accents is something that no band would do but Dillinger. Like no one would do that. Just that very simple, like, syncopated rhythm part right there. No other fucking band would do something like that. Just because it's so out of left field, because it ruins the chorus. But it's like, it's Dillinger. This is how they do shit. Like, it just sounds fucking dope. But it's like, I don't expect Pierce the Veil or fucking Asking Alexandra to come up with something that inventive in the middle of a chorus, because they're too busy trying to put their tattooed girly frontman in the spotlight, so that little tiny girls who they may or may not fuck later will get mommy and daddy to give them the credit card to buy $400 worth of shitty merch. Okay? Also, Greg is fucking ripped and he's yoked, and I love him when he's naked. Greg is who I want to be when I grow up. Milk Lizard is another fucking weird one. Yeah, even this song. Then it starts getting real funky after this, but yeah. Like, Dillinger is, in some way, they switch from being like, I like them. Yeah, of course. I mean, who doesn't like them? There's plenty of people who don't like them, and I get it. But, yeah, I mean, they can switch it up from vocal forward to rhythm forward to guitar forward. It changes like fucking, it's like it's mayhem. It's every Dillinger song is a schizophrenic fight between all the instruments trying to get their word in. It's fucking amazing. It's a great conversation. It's a great conversation.
Some like big hooky chorus. And whether you like Gojira or not, I think you have to admit that one thing they definitely have is just massive monster riffs.
That is for fucking sure. That is absolutely the case. Gojira has some of the. You ever want your dick or non-existent dick, your metaphysical dick, to get hard, to get like pumping full of blood? Go listen to fucking Gojira. Like, it'll make you want to slaughter innocents, every single one of them. You feel like a colossus. Is Alice in Chains emo? That's like grunge. Oh yeah, Alice in Chains is grunge. I feel so alone. Grunge, alt metal, heavy metal, sludge metal, maybe. Yeah, they came out of the grunge era, but like, I would say that they were grunge. I don't know what fans of Alice in Chains would call them. I would call them grunge. I think they're grunge. Alt metal, it's probably right. You know, you got screaming, you got really distorted guitars. Heavy metal, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a stretch. Sludge metal, sludge rock. I guess like rock and metal are kind of like, I don't even really know what maybe that's a video. What is rock and what is metal, and what makes the two of them different from one another? Because it almost feels like they're the same, but like they're not. When I think of rock, I don't think of like, if you're like, what's your favorite rock band? I wouldn't be like Meshuggah. Right, like I wouldn't name, if you tell, you know, I wouldn't call Meshuggah my favorite. I don't even have a favorite band, but like, if you told me like top 5 rock bands, I'd be like, it's not Meshuggah, that's for sure. Like if it was if it was top metal bands, I'd be like, yeah, Meshuggah, you know, whatever. Gojira just because it's in my head right now. I don't really have. It's a rotating list of shit, but yeah, I wouldn't. If you asked me for rock, I would give you a different list than if you asked me for metal. That's for fucking sure. So. And I feel the definition changes depending on what era the music was released. Yeah, I think once you're in a thing, it's hard to grasp it. I think genres are things that should kind of be added later, unless you're already evoking a past genre. But I think genres sort of come after. And things, you know, change. I remember, like, growing up, people call, like, here's a perfect example, EDM. Back in the 90s, we had no EDM. It was techno. That's what we called it. It was techno. And before that, it was, like, electronica or whatever. And it's like, is electronica techno? No idea. Is electronica EDM? I don't know. Is techno EDM? Fuck yeah, I got no clue. I don't know what people mean by EDM. It's electronic dance music. So is it specifically electronic music that you dance to? Does that mean that you can't dance to techno? Is techno like drum and bass? Can you not dance to drum and bass? I feel like you probably could dance to drum and bass. You know, you just gotta do it fast enough. So I don't know. That'd be a cool video to do. I gotta add that to the list. There's too many fucking videos on this list that I'm not working on right now. But too busy fucking getting the stream like halfway decent, and now I've like completely forgotten that I've got a YouTube channel that I want to make stuff for. Still gotta make that N-word video, rap, N-word and rap. Although I want to go like I want to do some Mr. Girl shit for that one. I want to like. There's this guy called John McWhorter, and he's a linguist. He studies language. I'd love to get him to give me an explanation on the etymology of the N-word. And I would love like a whole history on like where it came from, where it originated, how it came to be, how it got used, which we kind of obviously know parts of that. And then like how it went through time and how it got to where it is today. Because there's this, obviously, like, there is an internal struggle right now where we, as a society, allow people to say the word in songs, and that's completely okay, and then let other people choose whether or not they get to say the word in their own lives, which I guess is fine. If you don't want to say a word, it's up to you, just don't say the word. But then there's a subset of people who want to say the word, and then people who then get mad at the idea that you would say a word that's in a song that the artist wrote. And then I go, you put it in the song, right? But that's just one video. And then another video is, especially now because it's in the news again, because Dave Chappelle got fucking tackled on stage. I would love to do a recap / like discussion opener on like what do we do about it might be a more broad conversation about like transgenderism and what it means to be included in society. Because originally the video was supposed to be, can we make jokes about trans people? And that was spurred off of Dave Chappelle and all that controversy that happened a while ago. And now recently he got tackled, which doesn't bode well, because especially after the Will Smith thing, it kind of seems like obviously like there's a through line. At the very least, you can make a pretty clear through line from one to the other. You know, Dave Chappelle, everyone was cool with like, look, you can go ahead and protest him all you want. You can go ahead and quote unquote cancel him, but you can't. I don't think you can cancel Dave Chappelle. He's fucking Dave Chappelle. I don't think you can really cancel fucking rich people. They're fine, right? And their audience is still there. Everyone just quietly kind of goes like, yep, we'll be here for you when you come back, bud. But yeah, you go ahead, take your time. I mean, fucking Louis did it. Louis fucking got ousted and then like just, you know, started doing shows in corners and then started doing bigger shows in bigger corners. And then now he's like back on podcasts and still making his guap. And like he just put out a special, which I still have to go watch. So it's like, yeah, you can't cancel rich people. But I did want to make a video about can we joke about transgender people? And furthermore, what does it mean to joke about transgender people? Because part of me says that's how you assimilate different cultures into the bigger narrative. Like trans people say they want to be a part of like they just want to live normal lives and live normal lives like everyone else does without having to worry about this or that. And I go, yeah, that's part of life, is kind of getting made fun of. Like that's like we all, I don't know, I say we as like I'm some sort of like arbiter of, I don't know, straightness or something. I don't know. I'm technically a minority of some kind. But like, I think that's just part of it. It's just making fun. I think that's why in the 90s, the glorious 90s that everyone always fucking brings up all the time. It's like, yeah, it's like people might find it silly nowadays. Zoomers especially go like, oh, you have to say the N-word. Why do you want to say the N-word so bad? But it's like, no, it's the fact that you could say it and you weren't going to get this like, hey, do you have bodies buried underneath your house? Huh? Do you keep ropes on the trees outside of your home? Like that kind of shit. Nowadays it's like, I don't think anyone really wants to say it, right? But they want to be able to sing it if they're listening to their favorite song by their favorite artist. I don't see the issue. Like there's that whole Kendrick Lamar thing a few years ago where he brought up a white girl on stage and then let her sing the song, and then she sang the N-word or rapped the N-word, and then he was like indignant about it. He was like, excuse me, how dare you say that word? And it's like, bro, this is your audience. These are your people. Whether you like it or not, you're connecting to them through your music. I don't know. I don't understand the issue here. You said the word. These are people who listen to your music. They're saying the words. They're repeating the words that you wrote because they like the song so much. Fuck. That means she knew the song. As in, she's listened to it enough times. She connects with it. She vibes with it enough that, like, she knows the song, probably backwards and forwards. So I go, that's weird that you don't want her to say one word out of the entire song, or, you know, one word said multiple times throughout the entire song, whatever the fuck. I don't know what song it was. I don't know. I don't listen to Kendrick. It's on the list. That's another fucking video. So there's that. And then, yeah, now another video, the difference between rock and metal, which means I might need to do what is rock and what is metal separately, and then one video that's like, what's the difference? Or something like that. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll think about it.
Supported by equally massive grooves, thanks to Mario's drumming, which is some of the tightest, tastiest, grooviest drumming that you're gonna find in metal.
Yeah. Gojira, for like lack of a better term, is like a groove metal band. It's like what Pantera sort of gets called, which is groove metal. So it's like there's like a level of like a lot of like use of like backbeats. It's not because metal can be very like militant on like being on the four, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and having these like robotic Gatling gun firing like drums that just like and riffs it. So metal can get very, very like straight what it when it wants to, but Gojira has a habit of not falling into those I don't want to say pitfalls, but not utilizing that type of writing as much.
And so what that all adds up to is that they're kind of the perfect balance of progressive and technical, but at the same time, very accessible. It's almost like Morbid Angel meets Machine Head or something.
Something like that, yeah. I think I could agree with that.
It's a very difficult balance to find, but I think they've done it. Another thing that kind of puzzled me is that they really don't do a lot of the things that I've talked about as being important from a marketing perspective. They're not super active on social media.
Right,
they
yeah.
don't have huge personalities or any kind of like crazy image. Their
Yeah,
videos
they're just
are
dudes who play
fairly
music.
normal metal videos. It's not like 6ix9ine or Attila or something. They're really just like chill, thoughtful guys who
Yeah.
really don't try to be anything more
That's-
than
that's
that. And
actually
so what
really
that
true.
all adds up to is this, that like on the one hand,
There's
they're
no
the
character
band's
of
band
Gojira.
that's loved by musicians, but unlike other bands that are loved by musicians, like say Between the Buried and Me or Chan, Gojira is also accessible enough that when a band like Metallica or Lamb of God takes them out and introduces them to an audience of more or less like mainstream metal fans, those fans can get into it too, not just the music nerds in the audience, which all adds up to make them the perfect band to fit into their slot of what you would call the metal iceberg. At the top of the iceberg, you have your basic entry-level bands like Metallica, Slipknot, Linkin Park, Korn, and Megadeth. And at the bottom of the iceberg, way down in those cold, dark, lonely depths, that's where you find all that super weird underground stuff like gore grind and slam and all that kind of stuff. But what about in the middle of the iceberg? How does someone go from Metallica to Cerebral Incubation? This is exactly where Gojira fits, I think. They are the perfect bridge between that basic Ozfest kind of stuff and the more extreme underground bands. And will they ever be as big as Slipknot or Limp Bizkit? No. But do they need to be? Again,
No.
I would say no. I mean, they've built an amazing career
doing-
doing
yeah,
things
they're doing
their
just fine.
way without having to make any kind of compromises in the name of marketability. And really, what more could an artist want than that? But to me, the biggest takeaway is that their career really highlights the difference between what metal fans want and what fans of most other genres want. In most other genres, it really is all about the vocals, especially those big hooky choruses with some kind of catchy lyrics and a charismatic, larger-than-life frontman who sings them. And everything else is basically secondary to those elements. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely tons of amazing musicians in other genres. I mean, like take Aaron Spears, for example, one of the best drummers on the planet.
Hell yeah.
He plays like pop and gospel, that kind of stuff, for artists like Usher. But musicianship is not really
Aaron Spears
something
is a
that's going to give you
fucking
new fans
monster.
in other genres like pop or country, right? Like having a great drummer is not going to make Usher any more popular, but
No.
in metal, it will. I mean, if you
Yes.
ask people about Mudvayne, for example, they did that with their bassist, and I think the same is true with Gojira and their drummer. If you ask Gojira fans why they're great, a lot of those people are going to say the drumming. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going back on what I said before. I still think that hooks and image and charismatic frontman are still important, because if you look at the biggest metal or metal-ish bands like, say, Linkin Park or Bring Me the Horizon, who kind of semi-crossover into mainstream pop culture, the ones at the top of that metal iceberg, they do fit that formula of pop song structures with big vocal hooks and a charismatic, larger-than-life front person. But after that, most of the bands further down the iceberg really kind of don't fit that formula, because the core metal fans, they really just don't care about that stuff. They hear music differently than fans in other genres. I think they primarily care about three things. Number one, great riffs. Number two, musicians with really good technique. And number three, bands that can play all of that live at a high level. And Gojira definitely check all three of those boxes. And so with all of that in mind, their popularity actually makes perfect sense. And although I personally don't really listen to their music, I am a fan of the band. They seem like great guys who've just worked their asses off for over 20 years now.
That's
and
for
it's
fucking
always
sure.
cool to see that kind of just old school work ethic pay off like it has for them. All right, my friends, that does it for this video about Gojira. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Also, I want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon, especially those of you who support at the True Cult level or above. Patrons get access to all my podcasts a week early. I do giveaways, I do Q&A.
But yeah, that's gonna be it. Now we will leave on the sexiness that is the Droid Bishop remix of Deep Blue by The Midnight.
I wasn't looking for romance, just a quick slow dance, and the off chance that an off night and a side glance might lead me to the wrong hands.
Y'all have a good night.